It was a normal Thursday afternoon when everything in my life flipped. I had left work early, feeling drained and in need of some quiet time. There was a small coffee shop Emma and I used to frequent when we were dating, a place filled with old memories and warm cappuccinos. I decided to stop by, hoping to reclaim some calm. But as I walked through the door, my world stopped. There she was, Emma, my wife of 5 years, sitting in the corner with a man I didn't recognize. The way they leaned into each other, their faces close, sharing laughter that used to be mine. It was a scene that didn't need explaining. My heart sank, but I didn't storm over. I simply watched, absorbing the truth that had been lurking beneath the surface for months. Emma had been distant lately. Late-night work calls, unexplained absences, and a wall of coldness between us that I couldn't break through. I had suspected something was wrong, but I had clung to denial, hoping it was just a phase. But watching her now, completely engrossed in her companion, confirmed every fear I had buried. They looked like a couple, comfortable, familiar. It wasn't a one-time mistake. This was rehearsed, practiced. I stood there for a moment longer, letting the betrayal sink in. Rage wasn't my first reaction, it was clarity. She had already made her choice. She just didn't know I had finally seen it. I didn't approach them. What was the point? I wasn't going to cause a scene, beg for answers, or listen to rehearsed lies. Instead, I turned around, walked out of the coffee shop, and drove home. On the way, my mind was eerily calm. There were no more questions left. I knew what I had to do. This wasn't a moment that needed confrontation. It needed closure. Emma had already left our marriage emotionally. I was simply making it official. When I reached home, I grabbed a notepad, and in the simplest words I could muster, I wrote, "Don't bother coming home." Felt final, freeing. I placed the note on the kitchen counter, right where she would see it when she eventually returned. There were no angry words, no accusations, just a clear statement that I was done. She had been treating me like an option, a placeholder while she explored her what-ifs. But now I was taking away her safety net. I packed a small bag with essentials, took my car keys, and walked out without looking back. I wasn't sure where I was going, but I knew I wasn't going to be home when she returned. This time, she would walk into the silence she created. Hours passed before my phone started buzzing. It was Emma, of course. First came the casual text, "Where are you?" followed by a series of missed calls. She hadn't seen the note yet, or perhaps she was pretending not to. Then came the longer messages, laced with fake concern. "I'm worried about you. Let's talk." But there was nothing left to say. I didn't respond. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me beg for explanations or closure. She made her choices. Now she could live with them. I was done being the one who cared more. Later that night, Emma sent a long text, trying to minimize what I had witnessed. "It's not what you think, we were just catching up," she wrote, as if I hadn't seen the way they held hands across the table. The audacity of her lies only reinforced that I had made the right decision. People don't just catch up with that kind of intimacy. I didn't reply. Instead, I powered off my phone and leaned back, breathing easier than I had in months. The silence wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. I had finally stepped out of the cycle of her deception. The following morning, Emma showed up at my workplace. She looked panicked, her confident demeanor replaced by desperation. She demanded we talk, right there in the parking lot. I stood firm, calm. "I think everything that needed to be said is on that note," I told her. The look on her face, shock mixed with the realization that her manipulations no longer worked, was the closure I needed. She tried to cry, to shift the blame, but I walked away. The woman who once believed I would always forgive had finally met the version of me who had nothing left to give. In the weeks that followed, Emma tried to mend the damage with apologies and empty promises. But I had found peace in my decision. Sometimes, the most powerful response isn't confrontation, it's detachment. Walking away without a dramatic showdown was my way of reclaiming my dignity. She never expected me to leave silently. That note on the kitchen counter, simple, direct, was louder than any argument. It was the final chapter in a story that had dragged on for too long. Emma had her coffee shop companion. I had my freedom, and this time it was me who walked away with no intention of returning.